Hi, it's Saturday, 星期六啦 and I got home about a few hours ago， 幾個鐘頭前翻咗嚟啦。So this morning I went to this theatre called Lulelli Teatro。咁我今朝早去咗一個團體啦，個組織啦，佢叫做 Lulelli Teatro。咁佢其實咧係個劇團或者一個藝團啦，就 kind of like community art group。咁係有少少社區藝術嘅感覺啦，咁樣樣。I still haven't get to see the performances， 咁我仲未睇過佢哋表演嘅。But I know that because they work with people with disabilities， 咁我去係因為我知道咧佢哋有同智障嘅朋友一齊去做創作啦咁樣。So I contacted them on IG and then we connected and then we agree that I would go and visit them this morning because they have like a Saturday morning class。咁我今朝早就約咗佢哋啦，佢哋星期六朝頭早有班嘅，咁我就去參觀啦咁樣樣。So unfortunately the kids with disabilities are not here until the 7th of March。咁但係咧啲智障朋友就未翻嚟嘅，佢哋要3月7號先至再翻。And then when they come back, they would be like 3 days during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the afternoon。咁佢哋就翻嚟之後咧，佢哋就會係有少少好似啲中心咁樣樣啦。咁佢哋就下晝2點半至5點鐘，就逢星期2、3、4、3日嘅啫。So after that, I would go there after school。咁我之後就會放學之後過去玩啦咁樣樣。But next weekend, they would also like have this activity with these other kids that I met this morning。咁但係佢哋下個禮拜6日咧都繼續咧同今日我見嗰班小朋友咧就有活動啦，所以我又會去參加啦咁樣樣。So I met 31 kids and young people today。咁我今日咧就認識咗31個小朋友加年青人啦。So the age range is really huge。咁佢哋係超大嘅年齡差距啦 ，from 7 to 16 years old。咁我見到應該係7歲至16歲啦咁樣樣。They were all in the same group， 咁佢哋就全部都係同一班啦咁樣樣。Now these kids, only one of them is with a intellectual differences today。咁今日應該得一位智障朋友啦咁其他嗰啲小朋友咧都係屬於啲高危嘅朋友啦咁樣樣。So other would be like high risk group or like low income group， 又或者低收入嘅家庭啦咁樣樣。And so like this is like the place for them to come together, learn things and create things together so that they won't be wandering on the streets and then hopefully they will stay away from drugs and also gangsters。咁其實都同我哋香港啲原理都好似嘅，就係開咗呢個地方，咁就希望呢啲年青人小朋友佢哋就唔好喺街流連咁多啦，咁就希望佢哋可以遠離毒品同埋即係黑社會啦咁樣樣。So this is like I had a very good time this morning。咁我今朝好開心啦 ，but this is my thing, right？ 咁但係因為係啦，我就做呢啲嘢噶嘛，咁所以基本上我去到就已經好開心啦。And also because the owner herself like there is no government funding。咁首先佢係冇政府資助啦，完全零資助啦。And then there is not like a foundation or like a sponsor。Like there is nothing like that。咁但係同時佢都係冇其他嘅資助，冇咩私人機構啊，冇啲咩冠名贊助啊，即係賽馬會啊咩都冇啊咁樣樣。So she had to find funding like from the states to help her renovate her place。咁佢譬如之前佢就要喺美國揾咗個地方，就係即係可以申請到個資助個費用，就係幫佢裝修到佢間屋啦咁樣樣。So this is actually her house。咁呢個其實係佢屋企嚟嘅。And then like she had an extra kind of space。咁佢就有一個另外一個小工場咁樣樣嘅工作室咁樣樣啦。And then there's a backyard。咁然後就有個後花園咁啦 ，which has nothing like so the kids were helping like also to try to make like a garden of their own. So like this morning they were also painting flower pots with plastic bottles。咁所以啲小朋友又喺度即係會今朝早佢哋就將啲玻璃樽唔係玻璃樽膠樽就即係變做花盆啊，喺度游啊，即係咁樣樣。 So there are a lot of different things，咁有好多唔同嘅嘢嘅。And then this morning there was this university student，咁今朝有大學生啦咁。And then she came here, she had a project，咁佢有個 project 嘅。And she talks about tolerance，咁佢就今朝教包容啦，教共融啦咁樣樣。And then she did a little bit of like introduction game，咁佢玩咗個即係介紹自己嘅遊戲啦。And then she did some PowerPoint presentation，咁佢做一啲 PowerPoint 啦。And she showed like 2 animation and like with songs and 咁佢就播咗2條動畫啦，有歌啦咁樣樣。And afterwards like there was a major activity was to draw their self like on paper。咁跟住之後就叫大家畫字畫像咧，and then talk about what they like, what are their ambition, what their inspiration, what their aspiration, what their passion。佢哋中意啲咩？佢啲咩志願啊？佢哋有咩技能啊？佢哋將來大個想做乜嘢啊？咁樣樣。And then they present a little bit, share with each other. And then the ending was like, how do you change negative comments into positive comment？ 咁然後最尾嗰個就係即係有一啲諗法啦 ，not comment like thinking。So 咁佢就係即係有一個表啦。So there's a table. One side of it is like a negative thinking。咁一邊就係一啲即係負面嘅諗法啦。咁 and then the other side is like positive thinking。咁另一邊就係正面啲嘅諗法啦，即係咁樣。I may not necessarily agree on this part。我未必同意佢呢個全部佢教嘅嘢嘅 ，but yeah that is not my place。咁但係即係係啦，咁我嚟即係觀摩下啫咁樣樣。But it's very interesting as well。咁但係有趣嘅 ，because like I get to observe the kids。咁我可以觀察到小朋友啦，觀察到年輕人啦 ，and the young people。And the older ones were actually very attentive。咁其實咧啲大啲嘅反而咧超級留心啦。But I think it's very difficult for her because like she had 31 kids, all with different levels and ages, and so like for them, I would say like most part, like the younger kids were feeling a bit bored。咁所以其實咧係。你即係個差距咁大，7歲至16歲，咁啲大嘅好留心咧，咁即係啲細嘅其實有好多都好悶咯咁樣樣。有一個咧好笑 ，and there was one little girl, she was like sleeping。咁有個小朋友咧佢就即係瞌眼瞓啦咁 ，and then the other kids were like, you know she's sleeping。咁另一啲小朋友篤佢灰啦咁，跟住佢就逼咗佢坐喺出邊咁樣樣啦，即係坐近啲佢坐喺前邊啦。So and then like the teacher was like。set up a chair for her in front, you know, like, and she was so cute, she's so honest, she was like, I'm sleepy。但佢超可愛啦，佢就係咧，我覺得我真係好眼瞓啊咁樣樣。But anyway, like, it was all cool, it was all fun, and then the kids loved me, and so we had like quite some exchange. They asked me a lot of questions。咁小朋友中意我啦，咁但係我去到邊都係小朋友好中意我嘅。咁問咗我好多問題啦 ，asked me to teach them how to speak in Cantonese, how to speak in Japanese, and of course like the anime and manga is like now I think like this is the only universal language in the entire world。咁日本動漫繼續係全球唯一一個共通語言啦，咁樣樣問我中意睇咩啊咁樣樣。So in the end, like everybody was like, can you write my name in Chinese for me? You know，咁個個都走埋嚟叫我寫佢嘅中文名俾佢睇啊，咁樣樣啦。So it was all fun, and so I'm already like thinking, you know, like how I could work with them and you know like create something with them together。咁我希望可以同佢哋玩啦，同埋可以一齊合作做啲嘢啦，咁樣樣。So I'll see them again next week, and then we'll play together again and get to know each other again。咁下個禮拜會見到佢哋啦，咁我跟佢哋繼續參加佢哋啲活動啦，咁so hopefully like I will find out more about them, and then I have more inspiration on what to work with them。咁我希望同佢哋玩下添，就可以即係有多啲嘅靈感啦，睇下有啲乜嘢可以同佢哋一齊玩啦咁樣。So yeah, so this is like so happy because like finally I am able like to find something that I really love to do, and kind of like beginning to have a feeling of trying to build some network here。咁同埋開始覺得可以喺呢度揾到一啲網絡啦，可以即係建立到一啲即係 係啦，建立到一啲嘢可以試下做啦咁樣樣。So I'm very happy. Like it takes 3 months for me to sort of like get a basic kind of Spanish. I can begin to have confidence to communicate with people, and then try to start something and experiment something, or maybe do a pilot so that maybe we can try together to get funding and make the project happen here. 咁同埋都希望睇下可唔可以3個月做到一個 pilot 嘅話咧，咁我哋可能可以試下即係一齊申請一啲嘅funding咧，咁就大家都可以即係有啲收入啦咁。So anyway, let's begin. 咁我哋今日就正式開始啦。Read to Resist, Day 281. 當閱讀也是抗爭，第281日。A Concise History of Hong Kong by John Mark Carroll. 香港簡史，從殖民地至特別行政區，著者高馬可，譯者林立偉。The Mechanic Strike of 1920. The Mechanic Strike of Spring 1920 was the first strike in Hong Kong organized by a labor union, the Chinese Mechanics Institute. The union demanded a 40% increase in wages. Although the Hong Kong dollar had depreciated by 50% since the outbreak of World War I, and prices had risen significantly, Chinese workers' wages were no higher than before the war. European workers, who already enjoyed higher wages than Chinese workers, had received increase of around 15%. Rice had been sent to Europe in 1919 to relieve food shortages there, leading to such severe shortages and price increases in Hong Kong that the government had to impose price limits. To support their demands, the Chinese Mechanics Institute enlisted the services of Lo Man Kan, a prominent Eurasian lawyer. After employers, mainly the top yachts, electric companies, and the government itself turned down 4 requests, the workers went on strike on March 31. Within a week, almost 10,000 workers were on strike, bringing Hong Kong's economy to a standstill. Many of the strikers went to Canton, where they are supported by Sun Yat-sen's government and local labor unions. Although most people in Hong Kong, including many Europeans, consider the workers' demands justified, the employers refused to yield. The strike lasted for more than 3 weeks, and only after pressure from Secretary for Chinese Affairs, E.R. Halifax, did the employers eventually concede to a 32.5% pay increase for the workers. 1920年機器工人罷工。1920年春天的機器工人罷工是香港首次由工會香港華人機器會組織的罷工。該會要求加薪40%。自第一次世界大戰爆發以來，港幣已貶值50%，物價又騰貴，但華人勞工的待遇卻沒有高於戰前。薪水本已比華人高的歐籍工人，則獲加薪15%。大米在1919年送到歐洲以緩解當地的糧食短缺，引致香港大米嚴重不足和價格上升，以致政府需實行價格管制。香港華人機器會延請了著名歐亞混血裔律師羅文錦協助他們提出要求。在資方，主要是船澳、電力公司和政府本身4度拒絕勞方的加薪要求後，工人在3月31日發動罷工。1週內有近1萬名工人參與，令香港經濟活動陷於停滯。許多罷工者離港反稅，獲得孫中山政府和當地工會支援。雖然大部分香港人，包括許多歐籍人，都覺得工人的要求合理，但資方寸步不讓。罷工持續超過3個星期，最後在華民政務司夏里德 E.R. Halifax 施壓後，資方再同意向工人加薪32.5%。The 1920 strike was mainly economic, but it had important ramifications beyond the economic realm. A victory for organized labor, the strike showed how workers had learned the importance of organizing. More than 100 unions were formed in 1920 alone, and how to use strikes for collective bargaining. The strike also revealed how organizations such as the Zhonghua Hospital were no longer able to mediate between the Chinese working classes and the colonial government. By this time, organized workers had the power to deal directly with their employers. The government, which had been completely unprepared for a labor union to gain so much power, subsequently took a more proactive role in managing Chinese guilds, unions, and other associations. The Societies Ordinance of 1920 prohibited any society having unlawful purposes or purposes incompatible with the peace and good order of the colony. While the ordinance banned triad groups, it also banned a dozen considerably less controversial groups, including the Hotel Boys and Cook Guild, the Knitters Union, the Christian Youth Groups, and the Barbers Union. Finally, the strike affected workers in neighboring cantons, who subsequently went on their own strike and obtained better wages. In 1921 alone, workers there organized successful strikes in every major industry. 1920年的這場罷工主要是經濟運動，但它在經濟領域以外也產生了重要影響。罷工是有組織的勞工力量的勝利，顯示工人明白團結的重要。但在1920年就有超過100個工會成立，並且懂得以罷工為集體討價還價的手段，爭取集體權益。罷工也顯示東華醫院這類團體以無力充當華人勞工階級與殖民地政府之間的中介。在那時候，有組織的工人已有力量直接與僱主周旋。一個工會竟有如此能耐，令政府完全手足無措。其後，他在處理華人行會、工會和其他組織時，採取更積極主動的態度。1920年制定的社團條例 （Societies Ordinance） 禁止任何懷有不法目的或妨害本殖民地治安與秩序的社團成立。雖然這條例可以取締三合會組織，但也用於查禁10幾個沒有大爭議的團體，這包括酒店門童與廚師行會、針織工人工會、基督教青年團體和理髮師工會。最後，這場罷工鼓舞了毗鄰香港的廣東省工人，他們隨即發動自己的罷工，爭取得更佳待遇。但在1921年，廣州工人就在各個重要工業領域組織了成功的罷工。Now this is the reading of today. 咁我今日就讀到呢度啦。And the infamous 1920 Societies Ordinance came up. 咁我哋咧就正式登場啦！呢、個1920年嘅社團條例惡法。So now we know the background of this ordinance. 咁我哋而家就知道點解當時會有社團條例啦。The official reason was to try to control the triad. 咁即係表面證供咧，佢哋嘅講出嚟講得好聽咧，就係愛嚟控制黑社會啦，係啦。But then now we know the background is actually because we had strike. 咁原來就係因為我哋罷工 ，because our labor unions have become too powerful for them. 咁係因為我哋嘅工會咧係太有權力咧，就係令到政府驚咗，當時嘅殖民地政府驚咗啦。So if we look back in 2019， 咁我哋望翻轉頭睇下2019年。So it's the same. Ever since 2014, there are more unions, but then of course in the summer of 2019, even more unions were set up. 咁當然啦，其實2014年開始已經有唔同嘅工會都開始出現㗎啦，或者啲社區組織。But then去到2019年夏天，我哋就知道就係超級多嘅工會都係即係蒲頭就係開始組織起嚟啦。So you can see this is the same reaction from the Hong Kong government now, which is controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, and also the same as the colonial government back then. 咁你就會見到其實咧，無論係港英政府定還是中共政府，其實而家佢哋嗰個回應嘅手法都係一模一樣嘅。All these authoritarian regime do not like the people to come together, to be a unity. They do not like them to be in solidarity. 咁所有威權政府都唔中意佢哋嘅人民團結嘅，佢哋都唔中意大家組織起嚟。So, and that's why for a long time in China, people were it's very hard for them to get any sort of gathering or demonstration or a rally. 咁所以其實點解佢哋係喺大陸咁難有集會，or even in Macau， 就算喺澳門都係 ，why they would not allow something like our annual Victoria Park rally and memorial for the June 4th event, for example。咁所以點解即係佢哋唔會容許好似香港維園我哋嘅集會啊，我哋嘅六四晚會呢啲嘢喺澳門同埋喺大陸咧 ？Is because they fear， 其實係佢哋驚我哋 ，like they fear the people， 係政府驚人民。But what kind of government would be fear of their people？ 但係乜嘢政府先會驚自己嘅人民咧 ？I don't have to tell you。唔使講落去啦，係咪 ？So anyway, like this is it for today。咁今日就嚟到呢度啦 ，and super happy， 超開心。So and I'll see you again tomorrow。聽日再見，拜拜。